it's Enjoy English School. I am Chris Gorski.
I'm Antony.
It's February 10th. We're on pages 22 and 23, and it's day 2 of our features article called Comfort Objects.Yeah,
我们今天要继续跟大家介绍我们昨天介绍过的话题哦，就是小贝贝心理学 Comfort Objects。 我们昨天呢简单的介绍到说我们为什么会有这种 Comfort Object， 多半呢可能会是像是那种小毛毯啦、小枕头啦，然后这样子的东西可以帮助孩子慢慢的从依赖父母慢慢变得是能够独立。好，在这个过程当中呢，你有很多很多不一样的这种Comfort Objects 可爱的小物，对不对？好，我们今天要继续介绍这样的内容。
That's right. And now, yesterday we talked a lot about people having comfort objects, but when I read this article, I also thought about that, like, animals do this too. And dogs are really famous for it, especially young dogs. They'll carry around their favorite toy or their favorite blanket.And they'll just sit there with their blanket or their toy and just chew and lay down and feel happy and comfortable. I just think it's really adorable. And I bet that if we were lucky enough and we studied enough animals, that we would find other animals that have comfort objects too.Yeah,
所以老师这边跟大家分享的是，其实不只是人需要这样子的安全感小物，甚至连狗狗啊，他们也会需要这样的东西哦。老师刚刚举的例子是小狗狗，尤其是小狗狗，他们会带着他们最喜欢的小玩具啦，或是小毛毯啦，他们会做。如果我们够仔细的话，我们说不定还有机会发现其他的动物也有类似这样的行为，需要他们的安全感小物的哦。
Okay, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we have our first paragraph.Okay, friends, welcome back to Enjoy English School. It is our Comfort Objects article. It's day 2, and we're on pages 22 and 23. Let's begin our first paragraph. Children aren't the only ones with comfort objects.
好，接下来我们第一段呢，第一句话就告诉你说，其实事实上需要安全感小物的人不是只有孩子而已哦。哦，这个倒是蛮特别的。
That's right. While it is common for people to stop using their comfort objects as they get older, there are still many adults who keep their favorite childhood toys.
好，当你看到 while 这个字的时候，你先帮我把它圈起来，你就知道说它有可能去比较两件事情。那第一个事情是什么呢？ While it is common for people to stop using their comfort objects as they get older. 虽然说呢，其实大部分的这个大人开始不再去依靠这样子的安全感小物，是蛮常见的一种情况。There are still many adults. 好，他还是有很多的这种成年人 who keep their favorite childhood toys. 还是会把孩童时候喜欢的玩具给保留起来的。好，这种情况是有的。请问一下我们的 Chris 老师，你的绿枕头还在吗？
No, the pillow, I destroyed it. I have this nervous habit. If the paper is folded or ugly weird,I'll just kind of rip that little piece off. And I would do that to a lot of things. I ripped up a lot of books when I was a little kid, and that pillow did not survive.
哦，所以说今天老师看到一些那种小小皱皱的东西，就会先把它这样慢慢把它拆掉。然后那时候呢，这个绿枕头呢也不幸被老师慢慢把它拆掉了。这样。
You know what's really funny? I remember a girl in college. I remember I went to her house party and she had this old ripped up blanket. And I just thought, I was like, why does she have this old ripped up blanket? And I asked her, and she actually told me that this was her comfort blanket that she had when she was a little girl, and she never got rid of it, and she even slept with it. So I actually just, before today, I actually texted her, hey, do you still have that? And she's basically like, why do you remember that? That's so weird. I haven't talked to you in 10 years. Like, she wasn't really rude, but I think she was like, what a weird question to ask out of the blue.
我懂。那老师刚刚提到说，他记得他在大学的时候有一个同学嘛，好，然后后来他们有去到他家玩，然后发现到说，他床上的那个小贝贝都是已经烂烂的了，然后他还是保留着，他就问他说，这个东西是，他说，这是我的这个小贝贝，那我的话我还喜欢跟他睡，就后来呢，等到他们10几年没有见面的时候，老师突然想起这件事情。 然后他就传讯息给他的朋友说，你那个小贝贝还在不在？然后呢，对方就回答说，你怎么会记得这种小事？这很奇怪的问题，这样你要一问就问好奇怪的问题哦，这样好诡异哦。然后就也没有说不礼貌了，但是就觉得老师很奇怪这样子。
对 I mean I checked the last time we talked and it was like 10 years ago and so just like henturan, maybe she thought it was like I don't know, like maybe she thought it's like hey baby I don't know, was it
不是那个意思。
well because yeah, that's right, I don't live in America so I can't get to see her and just like I just 有关这个故事 and I was just curious so I explained to her why I was asking and maybe she doesn't believe me. I don't know.
But she didn't know the context.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, there's no context.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Well, anyways, let's continue on to our next sentence. Even if they look old and worn out, after so many years of use, people still keep their beloved objects.
好。Even if they look old and worn out after so many years of use, 我们刚刚不是提到说那个小贝贝烂烂的，对不对？这个地方我们马上就看到了，你可以用 be worn out 来表达这个小贝贝的状态。好，他说 look old and worn out 就代表说已经好像有一点点糟糕，老旧不堪了。但是怎么样呢？ People still keep their beloved objects. 好，他们还是会留下，很多成年人呢还是会留下他们心爱的这些物品。
小心 beloved, that's a weird one because 这个没有结尾 t, 这个没有 d, 干嘛就有 indefine. This one is a little bit more of traditionally we say it's beloved. Honestly, I say beloved, but I have been corrected by people that are very picky about this kind of thing, which is fine. You know, they insist upon this is the way we said it. It's a very traditional way of saying it. Yeah, you'll hear beloved from people like me who speak in a very modern sense of English, and I will kind of get rid of old traditions. I don't really care for them. And then some people that hold on to these old rules, they say beloved, and both are fine. It's almost like saying comfortable versus comfortable.
Yeah.
Both are acceptable. You shouldn't think too much about it. You will hear both.
Yeah, 没有错。所以这边的话，你有可能有机会听到 beloved。好，也是可以的。但是事实上，很多人他们如果说比较坚持传统念法的话，他们会说 beloved。好，用这样的方式会多一个这个音节出来。
Okay, let's continue. When they face difficult situations, underline this. We'll say this later. Face difficult situations, adults can find comfort and security in these familiar objects.
好，再来，他下一句话告诉你说 ，When they face difficult situations， 当他碰到面临到这种困难的情况的时候呢 ，adults can find comfort and security in these familiar objects。这成年人可以在这些熟悉的物品里面找到一些安慰，找到一些安全感。
Now, yesterday we talked about the word comfort. We said we can cut it in half. C-O-M means together.F-O-R-T is Latin. 拉丁文就是 strong 的意思 fortis. So we have strong together. And if we're strong together, we can relax. And when we relax, we feel comfortable.
没有错，这是我们昨天有提过的概念哦。
Now let's look at the word familiar. When we have a familiar object, that means we know it. We can look at the front part of familiar. F-A-M-I. Does that look like a word you know?Yeah, sure. It looks like the word family because you know your family. You trust your family. Hey, I know this. This is safe.Yeah,
没有错。所以这个 familiar 这个字的话呢，你不妨可以看到 F-A-M-I 前面那个东西跟 family 很像。这个 family 就是你熟悉的，在这边的话 familiar 当然就是熟悉的意思咯。
Let's continue. Some adults don't keep their comfort objects, but instead, 画一个箭头在后面 they form a new bond with new objects.
好，所以说呢，有一些的成年人他们不会把他们的安全感小物留下来。不过呢 instead, they form a new bond with new objects. 他们会跟新的这种物品建立新的这种情绪上的连结。Bond 这个意思就是指连结，尤其是指心理上连结，常常会用这个字哦。好，不要忘记 instead 后面就直接接逗号了，后面是我们要不要做的事情。要做的事。
That's right. Pick up your pencil. 在 instead 你画一个箭头到 they form a new bond. So 你记得你要做这个事情。Instead 下一个动动是要做的。Let's continue. These could be something like family photos or even cars.
好，所以这些事情，这个 new objects 是什么呢？ These could be something like family photos or even cars. 这些物品可能是家庭的照片啦，或者是车子都有可能。
It's really funny that we mentioned family photos here. My little sister, just sent me some photos recently of my father when he was maybe 19, maybe 18, 19, 20 years old. He's a very young man. And it's funny to see my father, he's passed away. My father died about 10, 15 years ago. Now I see him as a young man. I had never seen these photos. And to see my father as a very young person, new in the world, it was very touching. It was very sweet to see my father being a silly young person, something that I could never see him as because he was always older than me. He was always the adult in my mind.
没错，然后老师就提到说呢，其实要提到 family photos 那种家庭的相本的话，他刚好前几天的时候收到他妹妹寄来的这个家庭相本，里面有他爸爸很年轻19、20岁的那种照片，好，那种看起来就是很青涩的感觉，他从来没有看过这些照片，所以他看到他这种青涩版的爸爸的时候，他有一种莫名的那种很感动的情绪，因为从小到大他眼中的爸爸都是比他老的，好，或者是比较成熟的，他看到那种青涩版的爸爸，他觉得哇，那种感觉好好哦。
So we're talking about comfort objects, and there was one comfort object I made for my cats. Now, I have 9 cats, but before we had 9 cats, we took 2 cats to America. 这个很久以前，我们把就是2只的时候，我们去美国 and we needed to bring our cats with us. But cats are very nervous animals, and we wanted them to feel more comfortable on the airplane, so we took some T-shirts and we slept on them and we exercised in them a little bit, not too dirty, but they had a good strong smell of our bodies, my wife and my body, and we put them in our box with our cat so they could smell that and feel comfortable and feel more relaxed in this very difficult, stressful time for them.
哇，好贴心耶！所以老师很早以前，他们要住在美国的时候，他等于是有很多的猫要带到飞机上面，他们可能会躁动不安嘛。于是老师跟他的太太就想的办法就是，他们有穿那些 T 恤，好像没有很脏哦，但是身上那个 T 恤上面有他们的味道。于是呢，他们就把这些 T 恤呢，把它铺在这个猫的这个可能笼子里面啦，等等，让他们感觉到闻得到主人的味道，他们就不会这么躁动不安。
That's right. They feel safer because they could smell you. You can do this too. You just put the T-shirt on your bed and sleep on it for a few days and give it to your pet. They're going to feel really happy about that.
没有错。
Okay, let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we got our second paragraph. Okay, welcome back to Enjoy English School. We're on pages 22 and 23, and we're on day 2 of our Comfort Objects article. And our second paragraph begins, just like children who depend on transitional objects, adults also need comfort during times of transition.
好，我们来看第2段这个地方哦，他一开头就讲说，好，就很像是小孩子呢需要这个过渡性的课题，对不对？从这个他们开始需要去依靠父母，慢慢成长到可以自己独立，不用依靠父母，他需要一个过渡。那大人也是，他说 Adults also need comfort during times of transition. 碰到这种生活中的变化的时候呢，他也需要在这种过渡时期需要一个慰藉，所以成年人也需要这样的东西哦。
So depend is your verb. If we want to make it an adjective, we add ENT, dependent. Then we could say independent. When did we talk about this? To depend on and be independent from.
是 day 1的时候我们曾经提过。
Was it day 1? I already forgot.
Yeah. 对，没错，我们提到了 be dependent on 跟 be independent from 这样子的概念，所以在这边的话我们又碰到 depend 这个动词哦。
Okay, our next sentence says, when adults face change in their lives, such as or like starting a new job or moving to a different city, a comfort object can help them adjust.
这边这句话最重要的字就是 adjust， 就是适应的意思。我们刚刚前面一句话不是有提到这个 transitional objects， 有提到 transition， 对不对？在这边的话，他这句话他说 when adults face change in their lives， 好，在他们生活中发生改变的时候 such as starting a new job or moving to a different city. 好，像是什么样呢？可能开始一份新工作，这是一个转变嘛。还有呢，就是搬到一个新的不一样的城市，也是一个转变。A comfort object can help them adjust. Adjust 就是适应。我们常常会用这个字，比方说我们会说 adjust to the new environment. 我们会用 to 来跟 new environment 搭配。Adjust 就是适应新环境的时候，他们就会需要这种安全感小物。
在这个句子最前面 what did we say? When adults face change. Let's highlight face change. And remember, in the middle of our first paragraph, we said face difficult situations. When we face difficult situations or face change, 这个 verb face is really telling us we have trouble. This is usually negative.
所以在这边的话，这个面对其实上是面对一个我们需要用尽心思或想法去处理的一个状况，多半是一种需要花点时间去想我们该怎么办的一个处境。好，通常 usually means trouble. 好，在这边的话我们很清楚的知道。
So adjust has a few ways we can say this in English. We can say a comfort object can help them adjust. Or a comfort object can help them get used to the new environment, the change. Or we could say a comfort object can help them deal with their problem. So get used to, deal with, adjust.
没有错，所以是适应新环境的时候，除了我们这边用的 adjust 之外，你可以用 deal with 去处理。好， deal with 是一个片语。
All right, let's continue to our next sentence here. Looking at photos of people they love can remind them that they are not alone.
好，他告诉你说了 Looking at photos of people they love. 好，就是看着这些他们喜欢的人的照片。我们上次不是有提到说那个 photo albums or family photos, 对不对？好，看着自己喜欢的人呢，往往可以帮助他们怎么样 Can remind them that they are not alone. 他们并不是孤单一人的。所以说如果说今天像我之前到加拿大的时候，第一时间在人生地不熟的地方住下来，我就会把我家里的照片设为我的电脑桌面。好，家人照片。这样的话每次看到的时候就觉得啊，我不是孤单一人那种感觉，会有心理上的这种支持感。
So when you are lonely, you can look at pictures and remember you are not alone. Let's continue. Having an emotional connection with an object can provide a familiar feeling while they adapt to a new environment.
好，所以接下来他下一句就告诉你了 Having an emotional connection with an object跟一个物品产生这种情绪上的连结，也能够怎么样帮助他们 can provide us familiar feeling while they adapt to the new environment. 在他们适应这个新环境的过程中，他能够在这个过程里面，好，如果找到一个物品给他一个熟悉感觉，他就有安全感存在。
So we can see that adjust and adapt are related words. 它们当然有什么关系 So usually we might say adapt is stronger than adjust. And so I come from a cold place, and even summer isn't very hot. So when I moved to Taiwan, my summer clothes were still really honestly very thick and warm. I adjusted. I made a small change because I started to only wear one t-shirt, not two t-shirts in the summer. Then after a few years, I made a big change. I actually just gave away all my old summer clothes from America, and I bought a lot of very light summer clothes from like Adidas. Like I bought a lot of that like Yundong stuff for the hot summers in Taiwan. I made a big change by throwing everything out.
Yeah, 没错，老师这边就提到了 adapt 这个字比 adjust 要更强烈一点点。adjust 有点像微调 you change slightly.
Yes.
但是如果是 adapt 的话，就等于是一个大翻转。老师说他当初呢是在这个水牛城，美国比较偏北方的地方。他那个地方的话，就是冬天很冷，然后夏天的话也不怎么热。但是搬到台湾之后，这种湿热天气，刚开始的时候，他慢慢去调整嘛，对不对？然后后来的话，他干脆把整个那种夏天比较厚的衣服整个丢掉，开始换上新的，就是那种在台湾买那种很薄很薄，适合夏天穿的那种汗衫，这样穿起来就会很舒服。
真的 I remember...at first, I adjusted because I always wore two t-shirts, even in summer. But it's too hot for that. And the t-shirts 比较厚一点, so I'm wearing two thick t-shirts. So now I just have like Nike, Adidas, this very light clothes. And it's a little expensive, but I feel so much better in hot Taiwan summers. I had to adapt by making a big change. But now I usually will feel cold when I go home in America.
Yeah, 没错，要回去的时候要再重新适应一下好惨。
Okay, let's look at our next sentence. Apparently, the idea that comfort objects are only for children simply isn't true.
Yeah, 最后一句话，好，你会看到说，很显然的 apparently， 当然这个字除了用 apparently 之外，你也可以用另外一个字obviously， 好，这个拼法是 obvious， 再加上 ly， 指的就是很显然的、显而易见的。The idea that comfort objects are only for children simply isn't true。意思就是，他说原来安全感小物只是给小孩用的，这个想法呢根本就不是嘛，其实大人也需要。
Okay, with that, let's go to our vocab review right after this break.Okay, friends, let's jump right into vocab review for day 2 of comfort objects. And our first word is an adult.
An adult 就是成人的意思，成年人。
Number 2, to be worn out or worn out, used up.
Yeah, 所以在这里的话 be worn out 或是 look worn out意思就是指穿的有点破旧不堪了，已经很老旧不堪的感觉。
If someone looks worn out, a person, that means they look really tired. Number 3, familiar.
Familiar 就是指很熟悉的，它是一个形容词，你可以想到前面 F-A-M-I 是 family 的那种感觉哦。
Number 4, a bond.
A bond 就是情感上的连结联系。
That's right, two people are very close.Number 5, to depend on.
To depend on 就是依靠、依赖。
Number 6, to adjust.
Adjust 就是指去调整、调试、适应新环境。
Number 7, to adapt.
Adapt 好，这个话是比较强烈版的 adjust。Adapt 比较强，也是适应的意思哦。
And lastly, number 8 is apparently.
Apparently 就是很显然地。
Okay, so tell us again, did you have any comfort objects when you were little? What did you name it? Do you still have it? Do you still sleep with it? Do you believe the Build-A-Bear company that says 40% of adults still sleep with a teddy bear? Or do they just want you to buy more toys? Tell us down in the comments.
没错没错，告诉我们到底第一个你有没有安全感小物，然后你现在的话还会跟着你的安全感小物一起睡觉吗？你相不相信那个泰迪熊公司他们说40%的人都还会跟他们的安全感小物这个泰迪熊睡觉呢？还是他们想卖我们熊而已？
Yeah, all right. For Enjoy English School, I am Chris Gorski.
I'm Anthony.
We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.